my shit together. I don't think Beth swears in team meetings, so I just took a step up. No, we have some stuff we got to do, you guys. It's the beginning of the year. It's our second team meeting, and we have a packed schedule today. If you didn't know, there is food provided by our friend Raina from Cross Country Mortgage. And so you can go and grab some food, grab some coffee. We are going to get lit real quick. It's Liddy in here. We're going to talk about a few things today, you guys, that I think are important, things that we want to get you excited about, and things that are going to impact you and your business moving into 24. One of the things I want to talk about is we're going to launch a 24 in 24. I'm working on a panel right now with some big hitters here in our market center and big hitters from Maple. One big hitter from Maple Grove that has agreed to participate. We're going to do this a little bit more frequently with the intention of we need more listings right now, right? For all of us, but most specifically, you guys. This is the time where it's going to be important to provide perspective. So later on in today's meeting, we're also going to talk a little bit about what our funnel looks like, and we're going to talk about some dialogues. We're going to, we've been talking about this a lot. Alec and I've talked about it quite a bit. Is dialogues are the most important thing that most of us can get familiar with in order to have a more positive conversion rate at the door, if you're door knocking, at the open house, if that's what you do, or just naturally having conversations with people and getting them into a rhythm, getting yourself into a rhythm so you can get them into a rhythm. We've been talking a lot about perspective and context with our clients. Just as we get started here, quick question. How many of you think right now is a great time to buy? I think it's a great time to buy right now. And I've said this, so I'll reiterate it here. Why is it a great time to buy right now, today? Less competition, right? So if people want to buy or sell in this, if you want to buy, right, the conversation is you should buy today. When's the best time to buy? Yesterday. When's the second best time? Today, right? So buying real estate right now, why are you buying right now? Because there's less competition, right? Sellers, why are you selling right now? Because there's less competition, right? And there's less hassle. One of the major things that I've learned in some of the conversations that I've had with agents is, what does that sound like to the consumer to say, hey, yes, you too should list in April and you're going to have 36 showings on your house. You want 36 showings on your house? Well, I don't care. We don't live there. Great. Then you have 36 showings at your house. But what if you have kids and you have bedtimes and you have routines? Now, do you want to have 36 showings at your house for an extra $3,000 to $5,000 or $8,000 or even 10? I don't know that I do. That's being honest. I like my routine. So what is the question that we're asking, which we'll talk a little bit more about, is in your dialogues, what is the point to the dialogue? What are you getting to with that conversation? Jordan, where are we starting today? All right. So you guys, we did this in the fall last year, and we are relaunching it. This is going to be a little bit different schedule, though. This is going to be a little bit different format in that we are going to sit in more of a roundtable discussion. We're going to talk about specific topics. I have a facilitator's guide specifically for a high-minded roundtable for MREA that I stole from another team leader in another part of the country. So we're going to be doing rip off and repeat, right? And so we're going to be doing it that way. The intention of this is to make it so that it's not a conversation of me having at you, but a conversation that we're having together about the different ideas in the MREA and how each of us is implementing them at a different, at a different pace, at a different scale. And we're going to be able to compare a little bit of that. So check us out there. I appreciate that. We start next week, 8:30 to 9:30 on Tuesdays, right before the team meeting. You? We're singing. We're singing on March 12th. You want me to? Yes. You know what? I've been told that I have the voice of Fergie and Jesus. So the cross between Fergie and Jesus. my voice. It's a voice of an angel, really. See, be careful what you ask for, okay? He doesn't hang around me very often. No tattoos. No, I promise. DJ, come on up. DJ is going to share with us a little bit what's happening right now with our associations, how you guys can get involved and participate. DJ, here you go, my friend. Pay attention to this because this is a good chance for you guys to get involved.
Oh, no, thank you. Unfortunately, it is not good news today. We have yesterday an announcement. Our CEO from SPAR passed away. John was always so good. His leadership was incredible. So one of those leaderships, then he let you know what you need to do. And he trusts in your leadership to do the things that you need to, things to be done. Fortunately, he has a couple of years already fighting with cancer and he passed away.
Oh, gosh.
So
I was on his search committee when we hired him at SPAR. I was on the search
9
committee.
years ago. Unfortunately, tomorrow is the winter party where SPAR give the awards, install the new leadership year, and install the new board members. I know it's not going to be as fun as should be, but they didn't cancel anything yet. I think it's going to be tomorrow, the installation for the leadership and the new board members. But I don't know what is going on. And it's not an announcement yet. We should receive it because we are part of the leadership, part of the SPAR. I just want to let you know, you see something, please send a text message, respond to the Facebook. We are part of SPAR. That would be nice for us to show. Tomorrow is in the 5:30 to 8:30. It is at the hotel, St. Paul Hotel. They always do it over there. It is by registration. I don't know if it's still open or not because normally they do it for free. And whoever is first came, first served. It is always fun. They do it with dinner. It's a seating dinner and everything. So it's really nice event. And basically it's just for welcoming the new leadership team and the new board member. Saying that, we have also SPAR, have the application for students like a scholarship. You have a son, a daughter who is going to college. It's an easy application. My daughter did 2 years ago, and she was awarded with that. It is around $2,000, helps with the computer or something to pay extra. You are interested, check the website, and it's an easy apply. Interview the kids, which is good for them, but it's a really also, they put it in the website and they do announcements. That's for the SPAR. Minneapolis Area Association, they have a lot of trainings, CE classes, like everybody else. They don't have nothing measured right now. And we have for the Minnesota Realtors, the Capital Day. So if you like a little bit more about political stuff, or you want to know where we are in housing, what the association are advocating for, please go. It is a nice way to do a good networking. It is 8:30 to 2 p.m. normally. And what they do, they always bring people. I think this year is going to be the president for NAR. We are going through a lot of stuff in NAR too. He did. No, the president, the economics president, the one who's coming. That was another sad news. Yesterday, we received an email. Then the current president needs to resign because she was receiving some, I cannot say that word, threat, blackmail. So she resigned. We don't know what we are. But here we go. So the Capital Day is a good way to go and do your present, look the policies that you want to advocate for. And it's always like everybody, the leadership teams, the board directors, everybody goes to those meetings. So encourage you to attend. And that's it for me. Thank you.
If you have not done, how many of you have done Realtor Day at the Capitol or so if you haven't, take this opportunity this year to get involved. You can't complain about what's happening at a local level. For instance, like how they spent $150 million last year on a housing initiative that will probably not impact the market the way we'd want. It's really good to show up, be a part of that conversation, and allow your advocacy for our not just the advocacy for us, right? I would argue for our industry, but home ownership, private property rights, and such. And it also gives you a chance, because it is done in unison with the builders, for us to start pushing the builders to actually do their jobs and build some homes and get us out there in front of them. Not some of the nationals either. I'd like to see a stronger local home builder, whether it's large or small. We just need to get more local control, and the way to do that is to show up at these events. So if you get a chance, it's a cool event. You get to meet with, you end up getting aligned with the representatives from your specific area. So if you don't know who they are, you're like, I don't know. It's a really good opportunity. Some of you may even have some real estate agents that participate. We see the other day, Jeff Dotseth, Zach Duckworth. Those are the ones that I know the most personally. So if you get a chance, you guys, I'd love to see you go. I'm planning on going. Sad news about John Fridlington. John had been a major state association executive in both California and Florida before coming to Minnesota. And he was just really, really kind gentleman. And that's really sad. That's really sad. And now you will be responsible to find the new CEO. Yeah. Last time that we had to do this, we had people from the local market try to do it, and so good luck with that. It's a fun time having to tell somebody from Coldwell Banker that they can't be on the board, can't be the person. That's who it was. It was Kate Beckman, and it didn't go well. It did not go well. So that was my fun. All right. Thank you, GJ, for that. We appreciate that. Jordy, what's up? Oh, no. Welcome, Marty. Marty.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Just wanted to talk about a couple of things today. These are newer releases that happened in Command. They launched some tools to help you clean up your database, to help you really get a grasp on duplicates, which frankly are an issue in every database. They have a duplicate checker now, where you can go into your settings in Command, and it will scan through all of your contacts that you have in Command, and it'll look for matching email addresses and matching phone numbers. So if you did an import, then you manually added some people and it kind of got a little messy, you can use this where it will recommend people that may be duplicates and allow you to merge them together right there, or simply ignore them if it incorrectly identified one. And you can do this just with your individual contacts as well. But you can see right here, it gives you the two contacts and makes it super, super simple. You can pick which one you want to keep. And then the other one simply gets merged into it. There's a few little caveats to it. If you've got somebody on a smart plan, it's got to be the primary one, or if you have an opportunity attached to them. Honestly, it works really, really well. It's super simple, and it's an easy way to help clean up that database. So just a couple of little animations that they had kind of walking through that. And then I also just want to make sure everybody knows that I have a database workshop coming up on just a little bit over 2 weeks. We're going to do that right here in person, and it's going to be from noon to 3 p.m. on Wednesday, the 24th. So and I'm going to show you things in this workshop at the beginning during a little lesson, and then we'll work on our databases together. And I'm going to show you how to do these things in Command, but these principles apply no matter what CRM or system you're using. So if you're not using Command, I'm not here to shame you for that. And if you are interested in using Command, I'm certainly willing to help sit down and go through it with you. These principles can be applied whatever system you're using. And what Keller Williams has found is that agents that have over 201 contacts in their system and following up with these contacts in a regular and systematic method, an average GCI of $119,000 per year. Really not a whole lot of contacts. And it's all about having the right contacts in your database with the necessary information that you need. Stay in touch with them. Do you have their phone number, their email, their address? You know, can you pop by and drop something off? Can you mail them a note card? If you've got those pieces of information and you're calling them to do care calls or quarterly touches, sending them some market stats and things like that, that's what's going to get you front these people so that the next time a real estate need arises, either for them or for somebody that they know, it's not always about the people that we know. It's really about the people that they know. Our database of 200 people is really probably more like a couple thousand if these 200 people know, like, and trust you, because they're going to be willing to throw your name out there when their cousin, their brother, their friend, their mother, whoever expresses a real estate need. So I'd love to just pack this room. We're going to do probably about 30 to 45 minutes of a lesson at the beginning, probably close to 45 minutes. In the last 2 hours and 15 minutes or so, it's going to work on the databases together. I'm going to be in here going around answering questions, helping show you how to do, whatever it is that you might be hung up on or stuck on. We're going to focus on making sure that you've got all the right context in there, and then some tips and tricks on how to fill in those missing gaps for the information that you don't have. Questions about merging, the duplicates, or the workshop? Yeah. Yes, yeah. So in the Command app, if you get over 201 contacts, you now get a fancy little badge in your profile. It says 201 Plus Club. So right here, he's the star of the day already. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't know what else it gets you other than a fancy little badge and some additional GCI as you're working that database. So. Yeah, so the 201 Plus Club, you'll hear that kind of thrown around within KW. That's a new initiative they have. They really want to get as many agents as they can, get more than 201 contacts, because when you win, we all win. So I want to help as many people, those contacts in there. And I've got some really cool tips and tricks that are going to make things really easy. Go through and find missing information, some simple dialogues for that. I'll even have, I think I'm going to have 4 smart plans published and ready for you just to copy and implement right away as well. Yeah, any more questions? Thank you. I'm excited.
Me too, Marty. There you go. There was a conversation yesterday that we had on one of the team leader calls specific to what Marty's doing and the difference that agents experienced when they focused on their business in Command as opposed to focused on all the other things we have the tendency to focus on, and that the team leaders that have implemented this with their MCTTs and made a real big push for Command, the on average for the entire market center, now this is a bit skewed, is that went up 3 transactions each agent across the whole market center, specifically because of their engagement in Command. So if you could use at least another 3 deals this year, take a look at that as an average increaser of just getting into the habit of doing it. I know that can be difficult. So thank you, Marty, for that. January 24th, 12 to 3. Let's make that happen. Now we have Lynn. Lynn, welcome to the party, Lynn. Just want to continue to give Lynn a shout out every time I get a chance. You guys, she has done so much, and last year was a hell of a year, and this year is it's starting out better.
Okay. So we're going to talk commissions again. Need to sit. Try to sit. This is a terrible.
Okay.
That's okay. I'm short. Had an agent in the office last week tell me that she got an unusual phone call. It was a very, very experienced agent, but her red flags went off that she thought maybe it was a phishing call from the DOC. And they called and asked very pointed questions. As a buyer, how are you paid? Who pays the commission? How's the commission determined? Who's negotiating that commission? I'm really grateful she was the one that got that call because she did fabulous. Maybe it was just a random person that was really educated on the internet. I don't know. But the DOC does check on us. So please make sure when you think about it, how is a buyer's agent paid? Can't say by the seller. And you can, but it's not actually right. It's negotiated between the buyer and the agent with the buyer rep contract. Now, I would immediately jump down to the line where it says it shall be reduced by what the seller agrees to pay, so that you're not scaring your buyers away. But it is negotiated between the buyer and the buyer's agent. And it may or may not be fully covered by what the seller pays. They might pay nothing. They might pay more than what you typically would get. I just got a bonus on one. I sent it to you and I was like, I don't know if I figured it out right. I haven't had to do one of those. No idea why they paid a bonus. They could have paid 2.7 and it would have been less. We'll take the bonus. But there it just goes. You cannot say that there's a set standard, that there's a flat commission. Buyer's agents, their commission is determined by their buyer rep contract, period. It shall be reduced by what the seller's willing to pay, and that's negotiated between their agent and the seller, not us. A few weeks ago, we went over if it's not an amount that you like, or does not, well, I shouldn't say that. If it's not an amount that fulfills your buyer's obligation to you, you can add language to the purchase agreement. It says seller agrees to pay Keller Williams Integrity Realty. Notice I did not say your agent's name. This is the missing commission only. So if they're paying out 1.8 and you want 2.7, you'd put the 0.9, not the whole thing, of the gross selling price at closing. And here's where it is: to fulfill the buyer's obligation under their buyer's representation contract with Keller Williams Integrity Realty. It's the buyer's obligation, not the seller's. It's not you negotiating with the seller. It's your buyer's rep contract. And that's to meet up to what the buyer rep contract says. So if the buyer rep contract says 3% and it's paying out 2.5, you'd put 0.5. Just so the buyer can fulfill their contract with Keller Williams. Yes, it's part, yeah. I have had one very angry agent call because we have had a couple agents use this. And they thought we were interfering. And when we talked it through, the light bulb went off and they went, oh, I can do this too. So there might be some education needed in the community. But please make sure your buyer rep contract does not have a range. It's not 2 to 5%. It's a number. That number is your buyer's obligation. Now, if your payout on what they purchased does not cover that, you do not have to collect the difference. But we do have agents that do, so make sure that's reflected on the compensation agreement or disclosure. It's got to be negotiable. Had an agent yesterday call and they're going to charge a retainer fee. It's okay. It's on the buyer rep contract. That's negotiated between the agent and the client. Anytime money is paid for an agent, it has to go through the brokerage. There are some really unique deals happening out there right now. You can get paid for them. Talk to me first, but it has to go through the brokerage. It cannot go to the agent first. I've seen retainer fees reduce the amount that's owed. I've seen it just simply be, you're going to pay me for my gas money. It's a retainer fee. Sometimes agents are looking for incredibly precise, unique properties. You might take 2 years to find and drive 500 miles. You have the right to charge a retainer fee. As long as it's worded in the PA, and you know what, I'll have Jordan email it out again because we've sent it out a couple times. It's got to be worded. I'll be honest, Greg Hartos wrote this for me and I keep it in my date book written out. Seller agrees to pay Keller Williams Integrity Realty blank %, and it's just the missing commission of the gross selling price. Could be the net selling price. I don't care, but it's got to be determined at closing to fulfill the buyers. That's the caveat. Buyer's obligation under their buyer's representation contract with Keller Williams Integrity Realty. So here's the point of this conversation. You get an unusual phone call. Hey, how are you paid when you sell me a house? You know, it should be a normal conversation. You should be starting this conversation. You get paid based on what you and I negotiate on our buyer rep contract. Most of the houses that we look at, the seller, they're paying out.
I got it.
I talk too much. Okay. Yeah, most of the time the seller's agreeing on the MLS, it's already posted. MLS, you can no longer can search by commission amounts. You used to be able to. They took that away when all this happened. But if you plan on collecting that difference, make sure your client understands. And you need to understand Keller Williams is not going to play bill collector. You get to the closing and your client goes, oh, I forgot about that. I don't have that money. You're still going to have to close and we're not going to go collecting the bill. I know. But I can't take on that role. And we really haven't had a problem with it. Agents that are doing it are very professional and their clients understand what their obligation is, and we haven't had a problem. It can be on the settlement statement. It can be paid after closing directly to the brokerage because it's a contract between the buyer and the brokerage. It's not part of the purchase agreement unless you wrap it in. Well, I actually wanted to bring that up. We do not have a top. We do not have a floor on what you can do with a payout on a commission. I've never wanted to micromanage anyone that way, and we've never had a problem with it. I work up north a lot where commissions are not as high as they are in the city sometimes. You get over to Wisconsin, you're going to see some obnoxiously low commissions, and it's kind of the norm. So I haven't wanted to micromanage that part of anyone's business, but I am going to ask that if you are going to pay out under 2.5, will you please call me? We might have to have a conversation and find out why. because I just reviewed a file where our agent paid out a terrible commission. And we don't want to be that brokerage. Maybe there was a good reason why. I also had a call over the weekend where someone maybe lost a listing because their competition told the sellers, you don't have to pay a buyer's agent. Just pay me my 2.5. That's going to happen, you guys. So practice how you're going to approach that. I think we can give historical data. I would say that that's historically correct. I would try not to say anything that's conventionally what we do. That's our standard. That's getting too close to that language. I pulled up a development the other day where roughly 60 townhouses. And, there wasn't a 0.2 difference between what any of the payouts were. That might be some of the information we have to educate our sellers with. And if you're going to be competitive, it's my job to sell your house. I need to help you figure out how to be competitive. Yeah. Yeah. So just realize if you get an odd call, it's very possible it's someone literally checking up on what you know. Let me know, just so we can kind of, be aware. And know that they stop in at open houses too. So if someone stops in at an open house, make sure you've got agency. Please make sure you have agency. Shannon and I have been working on that checklist. You and I are going to finish it up. When you're doing leases, I really want to see agency on both sides, even if someone's a commercial customer. Yep. We just need to make sure that we cross all the T's. Any questions? Commission's going to be a huge conversation this year, guys. Probably for years to come. Everyone's. I have been painting, including a ceiling, and I am so flippin' stiff.
Net Sheets with Lynn, Tuesday, the 16th. Woo-hoo! You guys show up for this. When somebody like Lynn is willing to share, there's always going to be opportunity. You guys can look at what her production is and what her team runs, and you can see that she's serious about it. But even more than that, this is where I think a lot of agents get a little funky because it's math, and math is tough. So show up for something like this, and it's a value, I promise. See? I can really do anything by 6 and 3% too. I could figure that out all day long. All right. What's going on? So in some of my coaching, so for those of you that have been in my coaching in the last couple of last week or 10 days, some of what I'm going to say today might be a little bit redundant. Yeah. There's a few of you that have heard this. I find that words like lead generation, right? We know prospecting. We know what they mean, but we don't always know what they need us to do, right? We're not always aware of what that means to lead gen. In the past, I've talked a little bit about what lead gen looks like, and it does look very different for each of us. I want to do this funnel conversation today because I found this is one of the easiest ways for me to articulate what it is that you should be focused on. A lot of us get into the business, we get into our office, right, after the team meeting, and we close the door and we go, what am I going to work on? Who do I got to call? Right? We could talk about DTD2, but is DTD2 going to get you to where you need to be? You don't know because you don't know what you're judging. So I want you to do this. I want you to follow along with this. If you have a piece of paper and a pen, write this down so that you can start to focus on what this means for you. By the end of this, we're going to talk a little bit about dialogues because one of my funnels in my business is door knocking. So we're going to talk a little bit about door knocking. And I'm going to just kill door knocking until somebody tells me I have to stop, because I still believe that door knocking in this day and age is one of the most valuable things you can do if you have no business and you have a limited amount of money to spend on lead gen or lead engagement or personal engagement. So when you guys think about your funnel, when you think about what's coming out of the bottom of your funnel, right, which is money, which is closings, we have to think, sometimes I think we have to get more on a smaller scale what that actually means. So I took the 24 and 24 conversation and I broke it out. How many of you have done something like this with your business where you know where each deal is going to come from theoretically? You did? I suggest that you do this. I think this brings more clarity than any other thing I've done in terms of once you've set your goal, 24, you've identified where you think you're going to get this business from. You're going to take last year, the year before, whatever your career in real estate has looked like for however long, and you're going to put some of that data into your consideration here. But we know that your sphere should be heavily weighted. You should end up with more business from your sphere. The longer you're in business, the higher that number should be. Why? Well, because you've had a chance to work with people. Once you've had a chance to work with people, we're hoping that they choose you again. If they don't choose you, because you're not following something. You're not doing something for them. The value that you're providing isn't valuable enough. Likely, what is the number one reason why somebody doesn't use you again? It's louder. You didn't communicate with them. You didn't follow up with them. You didn't put them in the database. Maybe you don't have a database. This is your time to do it. Marty's going to be on what day, Marty? Wednesday the 24th, talking about command and getting them into your system and creating a system to follow up. But this means that 8 deals for this year to get to your 24, 8 of those deals should come from your sphere of influence. So now the question is, okay, how do I track that? It's simple. We know if you're going to get 8 transactions from this, right? That if that's your goal, then you're going to have to do some things with that database to stay in front of them with some consistency. You have to do that, right? So if I'm going to do 8, then I have to create a plan, and the plan for my database is DT, E2, DT, D2. E2. Easy for you to say. It looks like hangman. But DT, D2 is how you should be working your database, and there's a very specific plan for this. I will share it with you. Marty will share it with you. Rachel will share it with you. Jordan will share it with you. Alec will share it with you. But that's a very easy way for you to manage your database. Consistent touches and smart plans, right? That at each quarter, you know what's happening in this business, right? Quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4, and what that's going to look like as that business comes out of here, right? You're tracking this. Open houses. I believe I can get 6 deals from open houses this year. You guys think that that's an acceptable amount? Do you think that that's something that you could achieve? Okay, so you're going to get 6 deals. How many open houses do you have to hold to get 6 deals? That's the question I ask. And if you're going to do that, right, then you got to front load them. You got to start working on them now. If you're going to do 12 open houses in 24, right, which isn't a lot, that's 1 a month, front load them because you need to have time to work with those people that are coming to that. Spitting everywhere. So how many deals are you going to get from your open houses, and what activities are in that plan for you, right? So each of these funnels in your business has to have a plan, it has to have a goal, and it has to have actions associated with that. So my sphere goal is super simple. It's DT-D2. I'm reaching out, I'm calling out, and I'm using my plans to engage them. They're getting emails, they're getting handwritten notes, they're getting invited to events. Okay, now what about open houses? So in here, if you guys haven't seen this, there are 4 open house plans that were put together by Jason Abrams, and the 4 plans that came in this book are from 4 incredibly well-performing teams on this specific topic. Open house is in here. Use this as an opportunity if you've never done an open house, the way that an open house should be done. There's an agent in our market here in the Twin Cities. When she puts out open house signs, she puts out 40 open house signs. Last year, she did 1.7 million in GCI. She did it herself. Well, with her, she did it as an active part of her business. 9 kids, exactly. So my point is, you guys, is that the plan in here is to start by saying, this is how many deals are going to come from each of these funnels, and then get serious about the actions. So if I'm going to get 6 open houses, 6 deals from an open house, I need to know that how my deals come in. How many people have to walk through that door? And I don't know this number because it's going to be different for each of us because our engagement is going to be different, right? So be thoughtful about, I have to do 18 open houses to get 6 buyers. I don't know if that's the number. Anybody have an idea of what their number is, conversion number is for open houses in here? It's not a trick question, I promise. Okay, so go ahead. Yeah, that's crazy. 52 open houses, one deal. So this is where I think that when you think about this, if this is going to be your 24, I don't want to hear anything else about anything else. I honestly don't. I need you guys to know, just like I need to know, there's a million ways for me to recruit agents. I can only focus on 3 or 4 of them consistently with my team doing the activities, showing up, completing those activities, and logging that. If you're going to do your sphere, you know that you're going to be heavily weighted here. If you're going to do open houses, you have to get going with them right away and do them with purpose. Take one of these plans in this book and implement it. How many of you think that, what's today, Tuesday? How many of you think that if I have an open house that I put on Rockstars on Thursday, that you're going to hold an open house this weekend? Good. I'm glad that you guys are more purposeful because we're not doing that. Why aren't we doing that? Because it's a waste of your time. And you're taking the sellers out of their house for what purpose? It's the purpose of an open house usually. Get clients. So you're inconveniencing somebody else and you plan to roll out of bed at 11 o'clock, run to the office, pick up 3 signs. I know that because I get calls. Not on. And I know because I get calls on this. So you showed up to the office on Saturday thinking you were going to get a ton of open house signs. Are you going to get a ton of open house signs on a Saturday from the office? You're not. Why? Because the agents who are purposeful in their business, they checked them out on Tuesday because they knew that it was going to be busy for them. Make everything you do of these 4 ideas, whatever they are in your business, and I'd love to sit down or encourage you to sit down with Alec and talk about this. But you got to be purposeful about what this is going to look like. Are you going to have vendor? Are you going to have a lender there? Are you going to have lunch there? Are you going to invite everybody? Did you door knock both sides of the house and across the street? Use a plan. Stop winging it. Winging it creates stress, and oftentimes the outcome isn't what you want. Doing it by a book, the way that somebody else has done it successfully to close 10, 20, 30, 80, 100 deals, take what they're doing, master that, and then pivot once you've mastered it. Buyer and seller seminars. You believe that you're going to get another 6 from buyer or seller seminars. How many buyer or seller seminars do I have to have in order to get 6 deals? I think this is far less than what people think. If you held a buyer seminar every other month, 6 for the year, do you think you could generate 6 transactions related to a buyer or seller seminar? Buyer and seller seminars hard to get people to. They are. Why? The value proposition mostly is about me. I'm going to tell you what I do and how important I am. That's the wrong context. Again, there are buyer and seller seminars in here that have this. I have a couple more copies of this, but I will print out. I don't know if I'm allowed to take copies of it as it is copywritten, but until Mark King shows up here and yells at me, I'm going to do it. So if you have questions on that, be a part of that conversation. But you guys, this is super simple. And this is what breaks down your business. When I said I wanted to do 24 deals, I went, oh my God, I'm going to try to do 24 deals. And this year I did 8 or 12 or 15. Now I'm going to do 24. How do I do it? This is the way, you guys, is identifying. Go ahead, Marty. And we have a ton up front in English and Spanish. At it. So say that again, Marty, louder so everybody here, just so everybody can hear this.
On the note of buyer seminars in KW Connect, which you can either go to kwconnect.com or in Command, click that Connect tab at the top, search Your First Home. There's a complete marketing kit in there. There are marketing flyers. There's the information on how to market it, as well as the ready to go PowerPoint slide decks for your first time home buyer seminar. And they're available in English and in Spanish. Then there are the accompanying actual books that are produced by Keller Inc. Gary Keller and Jay Papazan wrote Your First Home, or I'm gonna butcher this. It was like Su Primera. I don't know Spanish well enough.
How do we say it in Spanish, DJ? Your first home.
Yes,
Primera
Su
Casa.
Primera Casa. So they have that actual book, printed in English and Spanish as well, and they're probably like $15-ish. Don't hold me to that, but really affordable as a handout. And again, there you can provide value
Yeah.
to the people that come. It's like, hey, you're going to get this book.
An
So-
actual written book about this. If you have other questions on how to do buyer and seller seminars, I've helped with a lot of them. I've done ones where they're very they're very expensive. There's some cost sharing measures you can do. Let's talk about that before you start collecting money from Mark, Raina, and Britt. But again, there's some opportunity there, you guys, and just be aware of that. Again, I want to acknowledge that each of these is going to be different for you. But if you do it like this, where you provide some specificness to it, you can start to track that specificness. Where am I at with this? Where am I? Maybe by the end of the year, you find out that you've got 18 people here and you love buyer and seller seminars, right? Last is door knocking. I believe I can get 4 deals this year from door knocking. Is door knocking difficult? It is. It is. Is it comfortable for everybody? No, it's not. Yeah, it's uncomfortable for some people. It is. Not everybody goes, hey, Nick, I want to go knock on random strangers' doors and hope that they might use me. Right? Now, on the other hand, I do like door knocking. I really like door knocking. Why? It's in my time, I'm responsible for how those contacts go entirely. And I like when it's on me. It's pressure. And I'm not afraid to knock because I'm not small. So but and I've had some people say this. If you want to door knock and you don't know how to door knock, let me know. I'd love to help. Alec would love to help. If you need somebody that you want to door knock with, you actually want to have a partner to door knock with, let's have that conversation. I can show you how to split it up so that one day you knock with for your database or for your area of your farm market, and one day you knock for somebody else's. Door knocking, like anything else, is specific. So how many doors do I have to knock in order to get 4 people that are going to use me? I know what my number is. But for me, about every 100 doors that I'm knocking, I'm ending up with a long-term client. Now that number is a big number, 100 doors for one person. That's a knock. That doesn't mean I talk to them. I'm about every 12 people that I actually talk to, I'm getting an opportunity. About every 24, I'm getting a deal there. So again, when you're actually looking at what you're looking at, put a plan in place to this. How many times do I have to door knock? Well, if I can door knock about 25 houses in an hour, and it could be a little bit more than that or a little bit less, depending on the neighborhood, the density, the price point, and how many people are at home. So I'm going to door knock one time per week. A specific neighborhood. This does not include what you're getting for your open houses, BTW, unless your open houses are in here. In your, I'm sorry, unless your door knocking is in your sphere area, or not sphere, your farm market, excuse me. So one time per week for 2 hours. You're going to end up with a significantly more than 4 for something like that. You really are. But let's just take this. Then you're going to identify where, right? And then you're going to figure out what your intention is. And I have some dialogues for this morning that I've used in the past and I really like. How many of you think that you would door knock this year? Okay, so we have a few. Maybe we have a better discussion together because there's only 2 of you. 3. But the script part of this, you guys, I think is what really script. I can't use that. Dialogue. The dialogue part of this is really important, you guys. When you're asking the few things that I've written down that I think I've heard more frequently that I think stand out for me. I'm just going to pull this in front. Things that I've heard more recently that I think are important. Said this a lot. Don't ask for business. I'm at somebody's door, when somebody's at your door and I go, hey, Isaac, do you know anybody looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? They immediately go, no, I don't think so. How about somebody in the neighborhood? They've already started off on no. What's their next answer going to be? It's going to be no, right? So the conversation that you're asking, and this goes for anybody, this goes for an open house, but most definitely in the open, in a door knocking situation, offer to help. I've said this and I've used this script a few times already with you guys. Isaac, I'm looking to help 30 families this year buy or sell real estate. Further, I believe I'm one of the better resources that my customers have or have had when thinking about buying, selling, or investing in real estate. If you knew somebody in the area that was looking to buy, sell, or invest, or you knew somebody who might want to come into the neighborhood, I want to be a resource for you and I want to be a resource for them. I know you might know somebody. This is the neighborhood I'm focused on. Isaac, would you feel comfortable if I left you with a business card if you had any questions or you knew somebody who did, you'd follow up with me? Oh, yeah, sure. I love that answer because you're going to get sort of those answers. Great. Isaac, I'm going to reach back out to you. I'm going to be in the neighborhood a couple times and I'm going to be sending some market updates to you as well. So I just want to be a resource. And if at any point I'm a pain in the ass, you could tell me. But otherwise, I hope the information is valuable and I hope that you choose to share that with people. That is a substantive conversation at the door. Go ahead. Love that. Yes. Yes. That is that is awesome, right? Because you're coming from contribution, right? The idea is that we have a lot of people who will show up. The other thing is be consistent, you guys. The one thing that I struggle with a lot of times, and I've told this story about door knocking. I've lived in the same house for 21 years, and in that 21 years, I've had 3 people knock on my door for real estate. 2 that knocked and never ever heard from them, never got anything and of course I was like on the front step going like, yeah, tell me more, let's talk, right? Like, so how long you been in the business? What do you do? Great. That's exactly why we have to meet. But that's that conversation. The third one knocked on my door, sent me 2 months of mailers and then stopped. So again, we always think that there are people out there doing these activities at a high level and they're marketing to everybody and everybody knows a real estate agent. The truth is we all might know a real estate agent. Is that real estate agent somebody I want to work with? Be the person that people want to work with by showing them the activities that set you apart as a professional. Not asking for business, coming from an offer from contribution is a way to start. This is one of the things that I got from The Odd Couple. They do not like to door knock necessarily. They like to canvas. What's the difference between door knocking and canvassing? You're leaving there. You're really not knocking. Now, if you run into somebody, they're out in the yard in the summer or they're shoveling in the winter, something like that, you could offer to help. No, I would. But you leave something that they can remember you by if they're not home. There's a lot of times they're not going to remember you. And if you're only going to door knock that neighborhood twice a year, you want to leave something so they remember it. Put your face on it, put your team's face on it, right? Because otherwise they're not going to be able to, they're not going to remember you. I think it's a personal thing about not wanting to be rejected. Yeah, I do. And I think that that's the pivot, right? Is if you don't like rejection at the door, you're afraid somebody's going to yell at you or spit at you, which they really usually don't. Sometimes in the Mac Roveland area, you might get some of that. Those people over there are nasty. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Lynn, my name is Nick Dre. I'm with Keller Williams, and I'm selling a home in this neighborhood. If you're selling a home, then you can use that script. But the conversation with somebody is really quick. My name is Nick Dre. I'm with Keller Williams. I've sold X number of homes in this neighborhood. I believe this, this, and this, and I'd love to be somebody that you could use as a resource. No, it's not your fault. I just want to have other
In
people
the
online.
process of putting money into her own house, she has evidently developed a little bit of a spiel because she has sent 2 people, contractors, employees at Lowe's to her lender to get pre-approved. The guy who sold her shades, she sells real estate. She sees these kind of shades. She wants to know where they are. How can she find them? She sees them when she shows houses. All of a sudden, you know what? He wants a house. She has talked to that shade man. She has been back there 3 times. He sent her home to remeasure. I think she brought him Christmas cookies when she came back because he was right. She needed to remeasure. She is so, I'm transactional. She is relationship. I sit back in awe. The gentleman that, not the contractor who put her roof on, the gentleman that she made sure had beverages. And do you want something for lunch that was up there doing her roof? Guess what? His daughter's doing his taxes right now per the lender so that he can buy his first house.
That's awesome.
She, approach me and say, I don't speak Spanish, Mom. Well, guess what? We'll get through that. That 60-second elevator speech doesn't have to be that professional.
No.
I think she went in to buy paint colors. Sherwin-Williams knows she's a realtor right now because she has been back there at least 5 times to get different samples to look at houses that she's showing that she likes. And by the way, here's an MLS picture. I like this color.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely just getting kind of like, it's cute.
Well, it is. And what she's learning is that if you don't answer, I'll come get it. If you don't, I don't want you to have to run too much after being all painty and all. If you're, you guys, last week I went to lunch, and a gentleman walked in and he had a real estate hat on, and I was eating lunch and I was in the middle of my day, and it was one of those days that was kind of stressful. And I walked out and I turned around and I walked back in because I thought, if you guys did that, I'd say, well, that's what you get if you're not going to ask. So I asked this gentleman if he would. I went back in. I said, hey, I saw your hat. He goes, yeah, I'm in real estate. And he goes, you looking to buy? And I go, I just wondering if you'd want to get together and talk a little bit about your business. But here's the deal. He said yes. I said yes. And we're meeting to talk about his business. Now, here's the thing. It felt intimidating to me. I talk about it a lot, but I knew in that moment, if I didn't turn around and go back in and have that conversation, that I would not have other conversations, that I would tell myself that everybody always says no. People like Ashley that are saying, listen, I'm going to ask always. That's who I am. I'm always going to ask, hey, this is who I am and what I do for real estate. Love working with people like yourself. And man, we should talk. Oh, hey, you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? Hey, there's a lot of, get past it, stumble over it, fail, have people go like, what? Yeah, I want to help you sell real estate. You look crazy, guy, but that's okay. Be crazy for a while, right? I'm going to get this. There are 2 other main things that Don't try to close the deal at the door. You're not closing a deal. You're not selling anything. Your job is to be there that day, to look like you're somebody they would want to be in business with. Know me, like me, trust me, use me, refer me. They got to know you first. Knock on the door. If they didn't answer, leave a door hanger or an insert or a flyer with your face on it so they know who you are, so they can expect to see you next time. Complimenting the decor really works well for me. Now, this is variable, right? There's always something positive you can say. In the winter, you have great landscaping. No, but thank you for shoveling the walk, because most people don't, and I'm probably going to fall and die out here, right? Create an opportunity to say, hey, I love the color that you chose here, or I love the way you did the landscaping. Find a way to compliment them, right? People like compliments, especially on their house. Make that a part of the conversation. Where do you think most people, and this is, we just talked about this, where do you think most people fail with open houses? Or, I'm sorry, not with open houses, with door knocking. Follow up. I don't know who said it, but you're right. The follow-up isn't there. So if there's no follow-up, don't go door knock. Because if you're not going to follow up, you just wasted your time and the time of the people that you said you'd offer something to. Don't just door knock people who say, yes, I want to sell right now. Door knock with the intention of building a following in that community, in that area, so that over time, the 2 hours that you spent door knocking once a week starts to snowball a little bit. It starts to offer additional value. People see your name, they refer you, they think about you when they're going to do this. And they might even go, wow, that guy who's been knocking on our door for the last year and a half, that guy does the work. Brother who lives in the other side of the city, well, he knows how to do this. He might not be our best bet because he doesn't know anything about our house or our neighborhood or the people over here. So just be focused on that. Real quick, guys, know this. If you have questions with this, talk to me, talk to Alec. Let's have this conversation and let's get your business in alignment so that when you look at it, it's 8664. There's a very specific nature to what you're doing so that you're not sitting in your office going, what am I going to do? All right, guys, we ran over 5 minutes. Today is your Tuesday meeting. Go kick some ass. Go help some people today. And thank you for being here.